past the creaky metal gates, through the fog-enveloped graveyard, you find yourself on the rickety old porch of a long-forgotten home. Beyond the threshold sits a man, obsessed, a tortured soul, cursed to discover all about the Southern California haunt community and beyond. You have now entered the domain of the Creepcast with Rick Creeper.
Alrighty, we're back at it, guys. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Once again, this is Rick Creeper 11 with the Creepcast podcast, episode 12. I know it's been a while, but we're back at it. Today, I have actually two guests. We'll have a co-host and a guest as well. My guest tonight is the mind of Robert Reynoso. He is a spook show enthusiast and Ghostmaster, the creator and producer of the haunted house of the Ghoul Spook Show. Did I get that correct?
Yes, sir.
And my co-host is my good friend Emmanuel Manjavar, aka Menji Speaks, YouTuber, voiceover artist extraordinaire. He is the voice of the podcast. So you've heard Emmanuel's voices before, the intro, the outro, and the segues of the podcast.
As you step through the creeping gates. Wow, I already wrote that a long time ago. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
What am I doing here?
Hello, you fucking wanker.
Oh, no.
There's going to be a lot of voices today from all three of us. There we go. How we doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Robert, you have the voice of a, I want to say like a Nat Geo like documentary or something. It's all the tundra of the Arctic, or that's something. I'm
not sure how to respond to that one. Maybe I'm in the wrong business then.
As the polar bear stalks its prey.
Both you guys have amazing voices. And then I was told recently by a person who listens to podcasts, they're like, you sound like Kevin Smith. I don't know if that's a compliment.
I would say in the world of podcasts, yeah, definitely a compliment. That guy runs like 5 or 6 podcasts at a time.
Well, apparently I need to wear a backwards hat and an oversized hockey jersey. So
yes. It comes with the territory, yeah. I think that's actually what they get you after you have like 1,000 subscribers or something.
Kevin Smith, I just picture the dude from Clerks and like Mallrats. It's like,
yeah.
Hey, a lot of people out there haven't heard what Kevin Smith sounds like. They've only seen the movies.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
It's
Silent
usually
Bob.
just like, but if you've heard Kevin Smith speak, you've heard him speak enough. He's actually a big talker.
I just envision him. I'm like, is that what I look like? I was like, that's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible.
Like when you said thank you, there was a question mark at the end, like thank you.
I'm like, thank you, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
So how we doing, gentlemen?
Doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for. I've been an admirer of your performances for some time now. I think we've been Insta friends for a couple of years.
Yeah, at least.
I've always been an admirer of just you've brought to mainstream media somewhat an old art form a lot of people are not fully aware of. And I mean, I know what a spook show is. There's spook theater, and so does Menji, and so obviously you. How would you describe to the audience the history or just like the legend and lore of the spook show and the theater and performance and whatnot?
Well, when I talk about the history of spook shows, I go back really, really far. I mean, in general, what spook shows started out as were midnight, ghost, haunted-themed illusion shows. And, like right there, I'm going back to about the 1930s. But when I talk about the history of spook shows, I go back way far. There was a guy back in 1778 in Paris, France, named Etienne Gaspard Robert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. During performances, he called himself Robert Sin. And in fact, actually, I played with the idea of calling myself Robert Sin Reynoso as kind of a little tip of the hat to him.
That's kind of cool. That's got a ring to it.
He is really good, yeah.
Maybe I will go with it. You guys are not the first to tell me that. So I like the guy. The guy was very dark. He was a very brainy guy. I want to imagine he was kind of also a very cynical person. But he created the Phantasmagoria show.
Okay.
Back in Paris, France, 1778, and it must have absolutely terrified people. And I take a lot of inspiration from him because, in all honesty, the spook shows, when they became like really popular in America and in Canada, they were a lot of fun. They were about drawing teenagers in and, giving them an excuse to stay out late past midnight with their boyfriend, their girlfriend, significant other and such. But Etienne really wanted to scare people. The Phantasmagoria show, it was Frankenstein before Frankenstein.
Okay.
What he would do, he would meet people on the streets as they were passing by. He had like a building, like a chapel or a building that was arranged ahead of time that he would prepare, of course. And as people were passing by, he would invite them in. And if it was at a chapel or a church, he invited them into the show. I'm sure he charged money. I think he treated it like a business. And once they were inside, he would kind of prep the audience. He would expose them to like these medical and scientific experiments of the day, like galvanism, where you have like a dead frog and you put electric wires to it and its leg would move and twitch, very Frankensteinish kind of stuff. And he did this to convince his audiences that he had the power and the knowledge to bring the dead back to life. I also understand that he gave them drugs and alcohol. I don't know what drugs he gave them, in all honesty.
Opioids, maybe.
Would assume.
Little
Absinthe or something.
Interesting.
Absinthe. Yeah.
It was all done, to prep them and to get them ready. And so after they were showing this stuff and they were believing this guy could do this stuff, he brought them into another room in the chapel, and it was completely dark. And people would sit in, and once they were inside, all the windows were blacked out, the doors were blacked out, they would sit in the dark, and then this eerie music would start to play in the darkness, and it was made by an instrument called the metallic harp or the metal harp. Have you ever seen, like, guys have like the wine or the champagne glasses? Yeah, they run their finger along, kind of stuff. It sounded like that. And that music would start to play, and then there'd be like whispering sounds, almost like that, exactly. It's kind of interesting.
That's kind of interesting. That upload of that.
Clairvoyance on your part.
I love when synchronicity happens. It's wonderful. So that that kind of eerie music. Imagine that playing in the background, and then there'd be like whispering sounds in the background. And
so this was like in a very immersive performance. So like it'd be a theatrical performance throughout the different facades or rooms that this person performed in.
2 rooms for at least, the medical room, I guess we could call it, kind of like the medical exposure room, the galvanism and such. And then, bringing them into this dark room where apparently the spirits were going to appear.
Okay.
They were in the dark. That eerie music would start to play. Whispering sounds would start to happen. And then in the darkness, a glowing image would appear, and it'd be like a skull or a demon, a phantom figure would just appear in the darkness. And at first it would be kind of far away. And it's kind of interesting too, because the Spook Show guys in like the 1930s, the 1950s, they took from the popular media of the day. They took from film, and they had Frankenstein and Dracula, the Wolfman, appear during their shows. Etienne took from the popular media of his day, novels. So he had The Bleeding Nun appear during his shows.
Oh, wow.
I never read the book. I think it's from The Monk. The Bleeding Nun was like this arbinger of death. If you saw the Bleeding Nun, death was going to appear to somebody, So in the darkness, these figures would start to appear, and the Bleeding Nun would appear, and Etienne would be like, "It's the Bleeding Nun! Everyone be careful, watch out!" And then all of a sudden, these images and these glowing figures would rush towards them and get bigger and scream and, all this stuff. And like I said, he was a very dark individual. There's a quote from him, paraphrasing here a bit, but it was something like, "I am not satisfied unless my audiences are screaming and throwing up their hands in terror." And so this, like I said, this show must have just absolutely terrified people. I'm sure there were some at the time who understood what Etienne was doing. They got in on the joke.
Was there anything else that you know of that was going on at the time? Did he create this craft on his own? Was there inspiration besides the novels?
It was before.
Okay.
He was the one that took it to the dark realm. I guess we could talk about what he was using. He used something called the magic lantern, otherwise known as a projector.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. People were using the magic lantern. It was basically just a projector. The same thing that a lot of haunters and people are using today, with the atmosphere DVD, dark atmosphere DVDs.
Yeah, the
yeah.
atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can go to Target. I still go to Target every year, and I buy like those projectors where it's just a simple slide projector. And that's basically what he was using. He'd have people hidden behind dark curtains, and they had the magic lantern. And he would just have skulls and demon portraits on these glass slides. a lot of people know about him. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas have actually brought him up as like a grandfather of special effects and cinema and such.
Oh wow! So he definitely had influence on people in film and cinema. Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, he got in trouble. If I remember right, he got in trouble because there was kind of rules and such about witchcraft.
So. Yeah, exactly. I'd hope he get in trouble.
Witchcraft and magic, and I guess he got in trouble a few times and had to stop. So it didn't go on for too long. But yeah, there were other people who were using the magic lanterns before it. He took it to that realm of making it spooky and scary, and so people like me and other magicians and Ghostmasters, I want to consider him the first real Ghostmaster.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I didn't want to cut you off.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, what I mean by I hope he got in trouble was like that makes it a good story. Quite honestly, is that I hope the authorities get in on it and they're like, oh, what are you? Especially back then when you said late 1700s, right?
Yes.
So
This was in France, you said?
Paris, France.
Oh yeah,
Paris, France.
Now, Emmanuel, can we do a French accent?
Oh, why are you bringing ghosts into here? You
How dare you?
You are going to make my wife fail.
This church, it already got one. Okay.
This isn't racist, is it?
No.
It's all in good fun.
This is theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind.
Yes, of course. But it sounds like not only was it a precursor to early special effects, but even just a precursor to early haunts.
Yes.
As he's even bringing people into separate rooms.
The fact that, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. The little that I knew about spook shows, it was always it was an audience, a grand audience brought into a ballroom or a theater room where they were seated, and the performances were done on stage, or there was plants in the crowd or props that would swing in the air. But the fact that he took them from one era to the other, it's very immersive, just kind of like what we see now with the haunts. Interesting.
Right. Yeah, a lot of theme parks now, right? They do like the pre-shows and stuff before you get on the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Like I said, there's just one more like kind of interesting little dark bit I love about this guy. He was a very brainy guy. He was an engineer. You could actually find some stuff about him wanting to come up with ideas of blimps and things. He was a very brainy guy, but like I said, he was a very dark person. And there's another thing I've heard, like in somewhere in his memoirs, that when he was a teenager, apparently there was a woman who lived in his neighborhood who the neighbor said was a witch. And this really intrigued him. It intrigued him so much that he actually brought a rooster into his bedroom at night and sacrificed it to Lucifer, trying to make him appear.
Jesus.
I don't know if it ever did, but I mean, that just goes to show what kind of a guy he was. And other people have talked about him. He's been brought up before. But yeah, so I consider a teen kind of like the beginning. And then, after a teen, there was a lot of things that kind of fed into what eventually became spook shows. The Fox sisters. I bring up the Fox sisters quite a bit during my performances. The two sisters who apparently were able to communicate with the spirit world through spirit tapping. I don't know if I should knock or anything.
No, you're good.
Actually, that wasn't me.
Yeah. Now, were these performers, the Fox sisters and other ones, these performers in the U.S. and what era were they performing in?
Yeah, they were in. They were in the U.S. The Fox sisters were. They were up like around the New York area, if I remember right. They got involved in some stuff. They started the spiritualistic movement. It was after they came out that people became really interested in the spirit realm, and people started having seances at home. After them, there was also like the Davenport brothers, who I think they were the ones who really started bringing some of this more to the stage, like kind of vaudeville stage.
Okay.
Yeah, they would basically they did something called a spirit cabinet, where they would tie themselves up in a room or in a small kind of box or a contraption on stage, and apparently they were tied up, and the spirits would rattle tambourines, and they would take off their jackets and take off one and put it on another one and such. This became a big sensation, and of course, again, you got to imagine the time in America. This is before the internet, this is before TV, this is before radio. People were bored, they needed stuff to do, so spirit seances were kind of a fun thing to do. You get together with your friends, you get out a Ouija board, or you try and contact the other side. Of course, there were the charlatans that came about who were taking advantage of people. Their children were going away to wars, and they couldn't say goodbye to them, so families wanted to say goodbye to their loved ones who died. They were taking advantage, and then now I'm kind of going more towards like the theater side here, because eventually we got to like Houdini. Houdini became very famous not only for doing escapes, but because he exposed the fraudulent spirit mediums on stage. He had a very skeptical kind of mindset about it. He was making, he was a promoter. He did it to, make a name for himself, which it worked. But it's kind of interesting because, there was also Thurston at the time. Houdini wasn't that great of a magician. He was known as an escape artist.
He was more of an escape artist.
Yeah.
I heard a story about Houdini, and correct me if I'm wrong, excuse me, I shouldn't get on the mic, where he told his wife, once he passes, that he's going to give her some type of secret like phrase or word only them two would know. And I don't know if he requested her to go to different type of psychic mediums or people that perform seances, and you will know if it's really me if they share this word with you. And apparently she went to a handful of different people that perform seances, and they can never. She pretty much debunked all these people performing these same seances, I guess.
Yeah. Every year on Halloween, he died on Halloween. So
really, he died on Halloween?
Yes, he did.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he died on Halloween. He was supposed to die before it. He was supposed to die like weeks or months ahead of time, but he held on. Yeah. Everyone knows the whole thing. He was a guy who said he could take a punch from anybody, and he was reading his mail, and I guess these college boys came in and wanted to challenge him to it, and he was kind of just like almost kind of arrogant. Houdini. A lot of these performers, I gotta admit, they were kind of arrogant. Houdini was arrogant, and he was kind of just like reading his mail as the teenager brought up, oh, I hear you could take a punch from anybody and survive, and he was reading his mail. Yes, that's true. And as he like stood up, boom, the college student. I think he was probably a boxer, or he might have been a football person. He was a big, strong guy. Is the point. And he punched him. He ruptured his appendix, and
so he died. Okay.
Yep. And he was supposed to die very soon. He didn't. He held on and eventually died on Halloween. And he told Bess, his wife, you'll know it's me if I give you a secret word.
Secret word, yes.
Yeah, it was the word. I believe there was actually two of them. I'm actually.
Well, sorry about that. I was just testing the new sounds.
I believe actually the word was believe.
Okay.
The word was believe, and I think there was a word for his brother as well. Like they were supposed to both receive a word during the seance. So Bess was supposed to have the word believe, and the brother was supposed to get some other word.
Now, was Houdini involved in any type of spook shows, or he just strictly was an escape artist / musician?
He did.
I mean, a magician. It wasn't Eddie Van Halen or something. Magician, excuse me.
He was a movie star. He did movies as well. Yeah. He did exposure of the fraudulent mediums, and that drew a lot more of an audience than his escape stuff really did. At least during the theater, that's where a lot of people wanted to come in and see, oh, how are these people getting messages from beyond? It wasn't done as a spook show. The first spook show happened around the early 1930s. It was a man by the name of Elwin Charles Peck. I have a poster at home. I have a few posters of his. He went by two different names. He went by the name Ali Din, and he also called himself Elwin, but he spelled it differently than in real life.
I've heard the name Ali Din before. You have a vast collection of actual, not replicas, but original prints of these spook shows that were put on throughout the different eras.
Yes, some of them.
Yeah, you actually saw them over at the Halloween Club Spook Show. No pun intended, but yeah.
Yeah. The Ali Din, I had it at the time. I had it forever, but I barely got it framed. I'm very proud of it. It's probably 1934. I say probably because a lot of the records and things about these things are kind of sort of lost. But he wasn't around for that long. Ali Din, apparently he probably came up with the idea around the 1929, but maybe didn't do one until maybe 1934, which is the poster that I have. It's probably one of the earliest posters you're gonna find. So spook shows, to separate like what Houdini did from like what guys like Elwin and these other people did, spook shows are supposed to be done at midnight, in my opinion. They should be done at midnight, featuring a horror movie, and somewhere in the show, the theater should be completely dark, and ghosts and spirits and spooks should come out on stage or in the theater. That's what I think really makes a spook show. So Houdini did stuff that was kind of spirit related, but it wasn't spook shows.
Okay.
Yeah. Elwin was really the first guy who did a spook show.
When did they start creating the difference between like the performers that did like seances and the guys that were actually started doing the more theatrical performances with the spook shows in theaters?
I'd say it had to start around that with Houdini, because they always copied each other. Everyone stole from each other. The magicians stole from each other. The illusionists, they stole from each other. So they were all stealing. A lot of the stuff that's still being done today, originated in the spirit seance rooms. The fraudulent mediums. Apparently, it moved to stages. So yeah, Houdini and other guys were doing exposures of the spirit mediums on stage. Like I said, it was Elwin who turned it into a spook show by making it fun, whereas Houdini was kind of, I guess, wanting to educate people, wanting to make them less able to be conned. Guys like Elwin, they wanted to entertain. They were having fun with it now. Now they were kind of, making a joke of it, so it became a lot more fun. And it's kind of interesting too, because, this came out like the Depression era.
Yeah.
So
people needed a distraction. I mean,
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And apparently the theater owners were very skeptical at the time of whether it was going to work. Like, what, you're going to do a midnight ghost illusion show and show a horror movie? Like, it's ridiculous. No one's going to show up. And from what I understand, from what I could read, Elwin made an agreement. Magicians and illusionists, they'd be booked at a theater like for a whole week. And he came up to the theater owner and said, I'll make an agreement. You can keep the profits from the entire week that I'm there performing my standard illusion show, but I want all the profits from the Midnight Spook Show. And it ended up being a great choice because people showed up, they wanted more of it, it sold out, and then it was after that other theaters started requesting that the other illusionists and conjurers also do spook shows. So now like Blackstone and Thurston, these big name magicians, started doing midnight spook shows on Saturday. And, that became the big thing. And it was all, at the very beginning, it was about the spirit seances, like I said, contacting the other side, receiving messages, and having fun with it, making, ghosts fly from one part of the stage to the other, and the blackout and all this stuff. But, everything goes through phases and changes. So a little after that, we started having another guy who showed up who became known as the king of the spook shows. And that was Dr. Silkini. His real name was Jack Baker. Jack Baker, him and his brother, they were adopted brothers. They both shared the Dr. Silkini name, but they started, the Dr. Silkini Spiritualistic Seance and Ghost Show.
Now, was this a traveling show, or was it predominantly like a certain area in the States?
Oh, they traveled.
Okay.
Yeah, they traveled. They got booked and everything. Yeah. And they kind of fell into it, in all honesty. It was probably Thurston. I think probably like Thurston backed out of a show at a theater, and Jack Baker, Dr. Silkini, and his brother happened to be there, and they were just like, hey, we need someone to go on. You go do the Midnight Spook Show, and that's kind of how they actually started it.
What area are we talking about?
They were all over. Oh, they were all over. That part I don't know. Yeah, he toured all over America. He probably made more money. During his time, he made more money doing spook shows than anybody else, and probably did spook shows longer than anybody.
So we're talking from like the silent era.
Yeah, so mid 1930s, and he went all the way into the 1970s.
I remember my dad telling me he went to a couple of spook shows, like midnight screenings of like The Blob, or like I was a teenage werewolf, and it was always like the gags in the audience, and like they had the live plants. Or like there was like the waiver, like if you passed out, or and there was always like the lights would go on, someone would scream, there'd be like glow in the dark props, and they would show like the son of Frankenstein or whatever, and it was always like the downtown theater with the old fashioned marquee, and he would tell me, and then he's like, yeah, we grew up watching these. I'm like, really, Dad? And then eventually he said that not to jump too far ahead, that eventually Universal Studios would actually, I think, got Lugosi involved in it, and he made cameos, and sort of like Karloff, and they started showing the big pictures, Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, Lon Chaney, not senior but junior, would show up, and that's when I guess it started fading a bit because it got a little more mainstream with the big production companies.
Not so much. I mean, they yeah, it's a long history. Like I said, everything kind of goes through phases. Yeah, Universal got involved. It's kind of interesting because, again, going back to Dr. Silkini. Dr. Silkini, he was a carny. That guy was ultimately, he was a carny.
I get that carny vibe from them. I mean, they're a traveling show, so,
yes.
They're probably living out of buses and so forth.
Oh man, like almost every story I've heard or read about Dr. Silkini is funny in some way. He was a character. At the very beginning, he started out like some of the other guys, having big props and sets and stages and such. And then he eventually became known as a suitcase act. He would show up to these movie palaces that could sit thousands of people with his whole act literally in a suitcase, literally, which in a way it showed he gave this cheap show and people walked away feeling ripped off, but they were entertained because he was a funny guy.
So it was a one-man show performing out of a suitcase.
He could do that, yeah. And it's kind of funny because even he had people who were behind the scenes with him. But at times, like there was supposed to be like a monster appear, like, he'd have like the Frankenstein monster. And in all honesty, he would just show up to a theater and there'd be, 100 kids, 1,000 kids waiting to get into the Midnight Spook Show. And he would show up there and he would just walk down the line of people waiting to get in. He'd find a tall teenage boy, walk up to him. Yes. And he'd say, "Hey, I'm Dr. Silkini. You want to be part of the show?" He'd bring him backstage, put a fake rubber Frankenstein mask on him and say, "You're going to be the Frankenstein monster tonight."
If I was that kid,
That's okay.
I would never forget that.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. And you were bringing up Lugosi. Lugosi, he got involved in it late, though. He got involved in it late. He was with another big name spook show guy. He's probably my favorite spook show guy, Bill Neff. Whereas Dr. Silkini gave cheap shows and, people left the show kind of feeling ripped off. Bill Neff always gave great shows. He showed up with a crew of people. It was well rehearsed. He had
So it was more of a bigger production then.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
He had beautiful women working for him. Dr. Silkini, I think I imagine if they made a film about Dr. Silkini's life, it would be kind of like a madcap comedy in some way,
Okay, yeah.
There's just so many weird stories about the guy. Bill Neff, on the other hand, was a lot more of a drama story. He
So it was more very theatrical performance, more depth as far as details, more immersion. Was there a lot of immersion? Was there plants in the crowd?
As far as plants, no. I wouldn't put it past him. He was a magician. Magicians do what you got to do.
Right.
But it was a lot more well rehearsed. He still used a lot of comedy, but it was way more polished. This kind of gets to something about Dr. Silkini. There's a guy named Roy Houston who worked with both of them. He was best friends with Bill Neff, and he was supposed to take over. Bill Neff's show was called The Madhouse of Mystery, and later in his career, he was going to retire, and he was going to give it to Roy Houston, and Roy Houston was going to become the new, Madhouse of Mystery Ghostmaster, but it never happened for kind of unknown reasons. And But he eventually stopped working with Bill Neff, and he started working for Dr. Silkini. And Dr. Silkini and Bill Neff, they hated each other. They were enemies. These guys, I'm serious, again, think about carnies. A lot of these guys, some of them wanted to be great performers. Other guys were carnies.
And other guys were hacks.
They were hacks. They stole. They were gangsters. Some of them would just do as little as they could, make the money, and leave.
So they were fully aware of each other. Like, hey, this guy's a hack. This guy's... So there was obviously tension amongst these performers because of these. What would you consider them? Just like if I were to let's say if I wanted to become an enthusiast or with you, how would you like the carny? Okay, I'm the guy that runs the rides. How would you categorize these guys that perform the spook shows?
That's a good question.
Just performers. I mean.
Con men. Some of them are just honestly,
they're connies.
Some of them, there's we were talking about this a little earlier. There's that movie Funhouse.
Yes.
Funhouse, and there's a scene in there that again, I was into spook shows before I ever knew about spook shows, and there's a little scene in there that's very spook show related where there's a Dracula magician guy, and he's in a tent. And he's got a plant in the audience. It ends up being his daughter and stuff. I hope I'm not ruining it for people who haven't listened or seen it. You should go check it out. Imagine that kind of stuff. Some of that stuff was actually done.
So it's definitely tension or just lack of respect. Because some guys were performers and some guys were just hacks.
Some guys, they were just out there because they were making a lot of money. Again, you got to think about some of the time that this was going on. They didn't perform nowadays we got AMC theaters where you fit a couple hundred people in a theater. Back then it was movie palaces. You used to sit 2,000, 3,000 people, and the big money a lot of times was in the rural areas where there was nothing to do. Imagine that you're a 14, 15-year-old boy, you live in a farmland in Texas. All of a sudden there's going to be this midnight show where there's going to be monsters and women are going to scream and they're going to show a horror movie.
So it's the talk of the town because there's nothing to do.
Yeah. There's nothing to do, and again, it gives you an excuse to go out with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your friends. You get to be out all night. It was a party.
I have a DVD. I'm gonna loan you after we're done here, and he's actually seen the movie. It's an old Ray. What's the author's name?
Ray Bradbury.
Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, okay.
It's an old Disney movie, and what it is, it's Midtown USA, two best friends, and this dark carnival comes into town at midnight, and at midnight, they just set up out of nowhere. And what was the guy's name? The main character,
The kid,
the ringmaster.
The ringmaster. Oh,
Mr.
God,
Dark?
Mr. Dark. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an old Disney movie, but it's based on a novel. But it's that Midtown USA little hole in the wall town, just Main Street. And this dark carnival comes into town, and just they set up overnight. But there's something dark about it. I'm gonna let you borrow the DVD. But what you're describing, that's what it sounds like, and it's based in 1930.
It's about the same
Something
era.
Wicked This Way Comes. Pretty cool movie.
I know of the movie. I never watched it. That's great. Thank you. Yeah. And so you got to imagine they were making tons of money, even though they were charging, 10 cents a seat. They still
How dare they?
They still cleaned up.
So shake my fist at them,
And then like you were saying before, all the gimmicks and stuff they would give away. I have some of them too. The faint cards, which was fantastic. They'd give you like a card as you're walking in. We're gonna give you a faint card because this show is gonna be so scary. If you faint, fill out your information on here so that we know where to drop you off after the show.
I saw one card that was a voucher that was given to a certain spook show that if you fainted, it was a guaranteed ticket to come back to the next show. Yeah, so that's such a cool gag.
They gave away all kinds of stuff. I played with the idea too of a couple ideas. I'm not giving them away yet because we're still in a lockdown right now. So unfortunately, my show is kind of on hold. But I take inspiration from a lot of that stuff.
I got a crazy idea.
Okay.
So once things get back to normal, we're gonna put something together, and we're gonna go back to the Frida.
I know where this is going.
And we're gonna do our own version of a spook show and have a midnight screening of something. So we'll figure something.
I love it.
We have the space.
Yeah.
I mean, we put a Santa house on a stage a year ago, so why can't we do a spook show?
Yeah.
I love it.
We'll figure something.
Awesome.
We'll figure
absolutely
something.
love it. Yeah. And I want to kind of bring up too a little plug. A lot of the old guys, they always featured a monster. Dr. Silkini. And it was kind of interesting too. It's a funny story about Frankenstein. He didn't have permission about using Frankenstein. This is kind of a funny story about Dr. Silkini. He stole. He didn't have permission to use the image of Frankenstein from Universal Monsters, and he put it in campaign commercials and in ads and stuff. And he got in trouble. Apparently, Universal Studios. He came out to L.A. one time, did a show. And Universal Studios got their lawyers mad and, sent him his way. Yeah.
It was called the Frankenstein monster. Like, what do you call it? A young Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, yeah.
Frankenstein. What knockers,
Well, thank you, Doctor.
Oh, thank you. Walk this way.
I'm kind of curious about a lot of these old mystics. I noticed that they tend to go with like these really exotic names. Is there like a specific part of the world that they all tended to kind of gravitate towards? Because it seems like
at the very beginning, it was the Far East. It was the mysteries of the Far East.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was.
Eating. What's oh man, I forgot. The Indian rope trick. The Indian rope. Yeah, where it'd go up in the sky, you could climb it and everything. Yeah, it was the mysteries of the Far East and the Orient.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. They always had the coolest names, and they were dressed so dapper sometimes. It's a bad reference to the movie The Illusionist with
Edward Norton.
Yeah,
and then Hugh Grant. No,
that's
Christian
the Prestige.
Oh, that's Prestige. Well, it's the same damn.
it's
And then
the Christian Bale one.
Yeah,
no, that's the other one. Yeah.
See, you know what? When I was talking before about like if we made movies of each one of them, like, Dr. Silkini would be a comedy, Bill Neff would be a drama. That's actually where I kind of think about, like maybe Dr. Silkini would be the Christian Bale character, and Bill Neff would be more like the Hugh Jackman character, where he was like really trying to do something amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
And it just always kept slipping away from him, Like the whole thing with Dracula's, is kind of a sad thing. Bela Lugosi getting involved. It sounds so amazing. A midnight spook show and Dracula. Bela Lugosi himself is going to be on stage. Unfortunately, it was at the time when he started getting into opium.
Right.
Yeah. And
what I heard, by the time he actually did the film Dracula in 1930, whatever, he performed as Dracula, on theater like over 1,000 times. So he was over the performance, over the character. So apparently he was contracted to have all these appearances throughout the years through Universal, and just wasn't, I guess, his cup of tea anymore.
Yeah, it kind of slipped away. You know, Hollywood wasn't calling him for roles anymore. He was getting older. You know, he wanted to keep working. And Bill Neff approached him about doing the shows, and unfortunately, this is later in his career. He was starting to get involved in opium, and Bill Neff had his own demons. You know, he became an alcoholic. So Bill Neff was able to hold it together. He was still able to go out there, you know, drinking and kind of a little wasted and hold it together. But Dracula, or Bella, I should say, couldn't do it. Like at the very beginning, apparently, it went great. But then at the end, he was starting to just like kind of slur and would miss his cues. And literally, after a while, Bella would just come out, kind of say something to the audience, and then he'd go back to the back of the stage and sit on a throne for the whole rest of the show and just watch it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he did his quick little cameo and then just, okay.
And that was it, yeah. And it fell apart real quick. Like less than a year, it was done. You know, he was out of it. They tried to give him his own spook show. He was actually doing his own spook shows for a little bit, but again, didn't last long. He couldn't hold it together, so. I imagine, too, like, someone asked me what they imagine a Bela Lugosi spook show would be like. And it's just like, from what I know about the guy, I don't think he was able to really ad-lib or such too much, you know?
He stared at them intensely with amazing hair. I mean,
Yeah.
the children on the night. You do the voice.
Come here.
It's like,
That's a trick.
I totally imagine like it would have the only way it could really work is if everyone else on stage, you know, the pretty woman who's supposed to be hypnotized by him and like the little Igor character did most of the work for him. He just kind of stood there and said lines. That's the only way it could really work.
I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I kind of got to wonder what prime Bela Lugosi show would have been like compared to that, because it probably could have worked if you gave him something that was just already kind of preset without a lot of ad-libbing necessary.
Right.
He could have done it, but at the same time, prime Bela Lugosi, like he was still kind of learning English at that time, so it probably wouldn't have worked. But it's still kind of
I
interesting.
mean, if you think about Lugosi's old movies, like, you know, White Zombie, or even the small part he had in The Wolfman, very, very limited dialogue, and it was more of his delivery, I think. This is the serious right now. It was always like the very dramatic facial feature. Sounds like me as a shitty scare actor. The facial expressions and the delivery, the build up, because he had very limited dialogue again because English was his second language. You look at Dracula, it just a lot of it was his gaze or his pose, and maybe a few not one-liners, but like very fragmented sentences. So if they, you know, their attempt at giving him a spook show, maybe it would have been more of like him appearing and there'd be some type of filler in between the gaps or so forth, you know.
Yeah. There's a little video. If you go on YouTube and search a little bit, you can see kind of a little bit of an idea of what it would have been like. It was a TV appearance, if I remember right. So it might have been like more well produced and than it would have been on stage. I'm very sure. But oh man, again, if they would have just like given him the lines, not had him like interact with the audience, like not call anybody up on stage to do something, like it could have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, usually you give somebody like that, like a partner who kind of actually ends up being the one that holds the reins,
Doing the work.
Yeah. That's probably usually the best way to go about it.
So I'm thinking we're going to take a quick little break. If not, I'm going to keep geeking out on what you guys are talking about.
Sounds good. So,
this is episode 12 with the mind of Robert and NG Speaks of the Creepcast. We're going to come back and geek out more about some spook shows and some other stuff. And we're going to talk about your performances and influences as well. And we'll be right back.
Don't you dare try to escape. The Creepcast with Rick Creeper shall return.
What's going on, everybody? This is Rick Creeper 11 from the Creepcast podcast. And we're going to talk about zombie donuts in the beautiful city of Fullerton, California. Hey guys, it's Christmas time. I don't know about you guys. I already decorated my apartment. I'm sitting next to my fake tree, and then I got the tacky lights everywhere and so forth. More importantly, Zombie Donuts has done it again. They brought back some signature donuts and as well as some seasonal donuts. So let's talk about some of the seasonal stuff they're doing, man. They got some cool merch. If you guys are looking for Christmas presents, they got coffee mugs, tumblers, I believe t-shirts as well. Jeez, I'm butchering that. T-shirts from Tino Evil. If you know Tino Evil, they're good quality shirts. I got a couple myself. But the cool signature Christmas donuts they have the Jack Skeleton from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and also they have You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. You really are a hill. Jeez, I'm the hill. They got a Grinch donut, and one of their coffees, which I like, is the peppermint mocha blend, which they could do in hot and cold. You're looking for a cool present for somebody, get them a t-shirt, get them a coffee mug, get a dozen donuts from the next function you're going to go to. Or for yourself, splurge, it's the holidays. But more importantly, the Gonzalez family has owned and operated Zombie Donuts since 2014. We got to support small businesses, support your community. Go check it out. Go get a dozen donuts. Tell them Rick Creeper 11 from the Creepcast podcast sent you. Check it out. Trust me, you'll love them. One of my favorite ones is the Bleeding Heart Donut, Death by Chocolate. And yes, I like the vegan donuts as well. They got some really cool vegan donuts too. So guys, if you haven't been, do yourself a favor, do me a favor. Go say hi. Say hi to the Gonzalez family. Tell them Rick sent you from the Creepcast and get yourself some donuts. Zombie Donuts, downtown Fullerton, California. Support small businesses. Happy holidays, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Where do you think you're going? There is no escape from the Creepcast with Rick Creeper.
Alrighty, we're back at it. Episode 12 of the Creepcast. Once again, I'm here with the mind of Robert, Spook Show enthusiast and Ghostmaster, and my special I always butcher everything. My special co-host, Manuel Manjavar, Menji Speaks, YouTuber and voiceover artist extraordinaire.
Just don't butcher me, please, okay?
Excuse me.
Thank you. Right.
I do have an announcement, actually.
Oh, God.
So, obviously, Zombie Donuts in beautiful downtown Fullerton, California has been sponsored the podcast. I actually required a secondary sponsorship.
Oh.
So, we're actually going to debut that sponsorship today.
Oh, my.
So, so I already cut an ad for them. I'm really proud of this. I'm surprised. Pretty big corporation. They're actually international. So let's take a look. In the heart of Baja California, Mexico, lies a hidden gem, a desert oasis known as Manjavar Natural Springs Resort. Come to Manjavar, experience fine dining, 5-star massages, natural springs and saunas. Book your oasis today. What are you waiting for? The hidden gem that lies in Baja California, Mexico, known as Manjavar. Book your getaway. Manjavar. You gotta love that guitar.
I'll have you know that ever since COVID struck, like the quality of massages have gone down to 3.5 stars. So I just want to let people know that before.
Well, keep in mind, this is in Baja California, Mexico.
I kept waiting for like the guitar to just like.
So obviously it's a fake ad, and Manjavar is actually Emmanuel's last name. We always have this running joke where, I guess a bunch of telemarketers were butchering your last name.
Anybody in my family will tell you that our last name has been mispronounced more ways than you can count.
So it was always a running joke. I'm like, that's like the coolest name. Like, it sounds like a natural springs resort.
It's the funniest thing because I get that all the time as well. Like I get both. I get people screwing up my last name, and then I get other people who know my last name, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's the coolest last name in the world." When I was in Iraq, I had this sergeant with me. And that was like his thing. Anytime like he walked into a room and I was there, or I walked into a room and
he had to say it.
He would be like, Manjavar! Like every time. I'm sure if I saw that guy now, like that's probably the first thing that would come out of his mouth.
It sounds like he's like a bullfighter from like Valencia in Spain or something. I did the ad, and I'm like, you know what? I picture like Spanish classical guitar, and I used the app. What's the app I use for music? Epidemic Sound?
Epidemic Sound, yeah.
And I just put Spanish classical, and like thousands lists, and I just went through every single one. I'm like, this is it. I picture myself.
I found it.
I'm like, I have discovered the ad. And I couldn't, I told Krista, the girlfriend, I was like, I couldn't contain myself. I'm like, I cannot fucking wait for Sunday to do this podcast. It's the music. It's just,
I feel like that's the only reason I'm here is because you wanted to play this.
how do you not laugh at this? Mexico lies a hidden gem, a desert oasis known as Manjavar Natural Springs. How do you not laugh at that?
I don't think anybody could see me. I was laughing the whole time. As soon as you said I had a new ad, I was like, he did it.
I had no poker face. I'm like, there's a new ad. Oh, but we're here for Robert. So
yes, of course.
I was just gonna add something like, that was my first clue that it must be a joke. How I saw Minji react. I'm like, okay, there's some kind of inside joke here.
As soon as the guitars went, I started cracking up.
I tried to distract him with. I got the new cool, the spooky sounds.
I was wondering why you didn't go all the way up too.
I'm like,
he pushed the bottom buttons, but what about the top ones?
Not the red one.
Not never the wet one.
These are kind of cool. So yeah, so I've been there's an interactive soundboard on here. I've been messing with. So yeah. So anyway, so Robert, yes, we forgot about Robert. Sorry.
This is fun. No, you guys just keep going.
All right,
I'm just enjoying this.
Yeah, so there's always this running story, like joke, like this his last name. I was texting him like Manjavar, and he's just like, "What's with you in this?" I'm like, "I'm just bored of work." Was the guitars?
I appreciate the fact that you went through such links to make that.
It was a 2-minute commercial. I had to edit it down.
Hey, most people won't even bother to give me a phone call to say hi. So.
It was like fine dining and like
massages,
Seriously.
and like hot baths and like mineral bath. That
was a good almost minute and a half commercial.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guitar just brought it all together.
Yes, totally. Yes, beautiful.
I was like, I pictured Vega from like another reference to Vega from Street Fighter. Yeah. All right, so Robert, let's get back to Robert.
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
So when did you discover the spook shows?
Okay, that's gonna be that's always a hard question for me. In my personal history with spook shows, it's always a hard question because I've said this before. I was into spook shows before I knew what spook shows were, because so much about them, their aesthetics, the artwork, the ads, they show up in other places, Rob Zombie. Some people, you hear spook shows and they think of Rob Zombie, but I'd say like part of the thing that really started a lot of my love and passion was a couple of movies came out around the same time, and there was it was Ed Wood, Tim Burton's Ed Wood, and then Matinee with John Goodman. Was it Joe Dante made that movie? Both of them, I look back at them now, they had a big influence. Again, the artwork, the aesthetics, there was something about them, the B movies and these midnight shows and parties that basically happen in theaters. So there was something about it that kind of hinted to me that these things used to happen. And then from there, I was into, like something weird video. I started watching a bunch of those, cheesy cult movies, and there'd be like little ads and commercials. And there was one time I saw a old campaign commercial for one of the best known spook show guys, Philip Morris. He called himself Dr. Evil. He made a commercial, the Dr. Evil and his terrors of the unknown. And, it made these outlandish, promises, Dr. Evil and the terrors of the unknown. The grave, theaters become a graveyard. See monsters roam through the theaters.
And this was actual commercials, like on TV?
No, you would see them like during the theater. You go to see a movie. Yeah. You go see a movie, and like that theater was going to book Dr. Evil to show up, that Saturday or a couple weeks away. And it was like, show up here, buy the theaters, tickets available now. And, as a teenager, I'd watch that. Very young, like 13 years old or something, I'd watch that. And it was like, he was promising that an actual dead body would be given away,
I remember that.
You know about that.
Okay, that rung a bell.
Yeah,
okay.
A dead body. He would give away a dead body. And, live snakes would roam through the theaters and all these things. And, again, as a teenager, I watched and I was like, how is this possible? Like, how did this even happen? Didn't the police shut this down? This guy must be locked up in an insane asylum somewhere, Yeah. And one of my friends who's working on a new documentary about them, I told him about this, and he was like, oh, you were exactly the audience he was trying to reach at that time, because that was the whole point, to grab your attention. It was the carnival barker, hurry, hurry, ladies and gentlemen, come and see the crazy show. That was it. That was how they did it. And I don't know, a lot of people are in on the gag now. If you don't know what the dead body is, do your listeners want to know what the dead body was?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, it was a chicken.
So he gave him a chicken. Okay.
He didn't say what kind of dead body.
You get it.
Sense. Okay.
You get it. Yeah. So there'd be raffles where you'd give away an actual dead body, and it was a dead chicken. You'd go home, and it was always the cheapest chicken you can get, whatever, for $1 or something. And it helped to create buzz and get people's butts in the seats. And you made a bunch of promises, and then again, you did the show and you left town.
Oh wow, made his money and took off then.
Exactly, yeah. So again, going back, that's kind of like my beginning influences. I knew they existed, but I just didn't understand anything about them. And then I was someone who was into like gothic culture, gothic music. I loved old classic horror movies, Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
So anything from like Universal Monsters or like the Castle films, maybe.
Not so much the Castle films, the Universal definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, Ed Wood, of course, because of the Ed Wood movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space and all that stuff. It became a big influence. And so I became like really into like gothic culture and things, and I was also, actually, you know what, I'm gonna back up too, because I think there was something I saw very young that also influenced me and has a lot to do with spook shows. It was a David Copperfield TV performance. He did this one TV special where he apparently had a part of a building that was haunted, and there were spirits inside, and it was like supposed to be like the top of this Victorian mansion where spirit seances were supposed to happen. And I was bringing up the Davenport brothers before. This was David Copperfield's version of a spirit cabinet. If you can, again, YouTube it. Look up for David Copperfield, a spirit cabinet. It's an amazing thing where he apparently opens it up and he takes a microphone and he's moving it around the cabinet, and you can hear disembodied voices whispering inside, and he closes it up and things start to happen inside. He's tied up, and all these incredible things happens, and ghosts fly through the audience. So I saw that as a kid, and that was a big influence.
I remember seeing a TV special he did, David Copperfield, the magician, where he actually performed a card trick on television, like on the episode or the special, where the viewers at home were involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had you hold up the card to the television screen. He's like, "Oh, that's the card." And it's funny that I bring that up because you're going to perform a card trick for us on the podcast as well.
Yes, sir. Everyone at home, listen in.
So everyone listening to this episode, if you don't have just regular playing cards or tarot, could you do tarot cards as well?
You can absolutely use tarot cards. In fact, if you're going to use tarot cards or anything, in fact, if you're listening to this podcast during the daytime, I invite you to come back at nighttime. Make it dim in the room. Maybe put on some spooky music in the background. We're going to take part in something a little creepy. All you'll need is a small packet of cards. 7 or 8 cards is perfect. If you have less, only 4 or 5 cards that will work. They could be playing cards, tarot cards, or if you have a game board around and you could use cards from the game. Just a small amount of cards. Keep them handy.
So if you guys want, you can pause the episode, get yourself the cards, and what exactly are we going to be performing?
This is going to be called the Spell of Baphomet.
There we go. So we're going to be performing this in a bit. And so you guys make sure you have a set of cards. You could always come back to the episode, pause it, and we'll definitely, this is going to be interactive with the people at home. Just don't do this while you're driving. I know people while they're driving somewhere.
You've been warned.
You've been warned. Oh my. So not to cut you off. So yeah, so I saw in a special he did where he performed a trick, and then it was somehow interactive with the viewers at home. So.
Yes, it was. Yeah, so yeah, that was a big influence too. So yeah, again, I've been talking about a lot of magicians and such. So yeah, the old spook show Ghostmasters, ultimately they were magicians, and that's why in a lot of ways spook shows never really went away. They died out of popularity, but they never really went away. There was always some magician, some illusionist somewhere doing a one-off spook show, but it was like Halloween time. I'm gonna do a Halloween show at the circus or the carnival for our church, for the high school in the area. They showed up here and there, but they definitely fell out of popularity. So yeah, that was another thing. Like I became a magician. I was performing magic and mentalism freelance on the side here and there. And then during Halloween time, I was, I was a home haunter. So that's where the whole title, The Haunted House of the Ghouls, started. Doing a walkthrough maze. Had a lot of fun doing that. And there were two different worlds that I did see a connection, but I never really put it together until years later. Years later, a mentor of mine kind of pointed me in the direction of some old illusion books. And they had some secrets of the old Spook Show, and I just went crazy. I was like, oh my God, this is it? This is what they did? And like before it, I'd already known about kind of a seance theater, I guess we could call it, where you just gather around and it's done for fun. It's not so much done seriously trying to contact the other side. Maybe things happen honestly during it, but it was more done for fun.
More theatrical.
Yeah, it was a form of magic known as bazaar or bazaarist. And so I was already familiar with that. And when I found out about this, I was totally amazed. I was like, this is it? This is what happened in spook shows? And what I was exposed to at first was what was called the dark seance or the blackout. This is at the end of the show, usually, where the whole theater goes dark and skeletons and ghosts and things fly around the room, where you feel things touch you in the dark. And again, because I was still kind of brand new, I thought that was the entire spook show. I thought the entire spook show was like 45 minutes in the dark, and then later on I come to find out, actually, no, it was more like, 5 minutes at the end of the show. And so what happened was I actually mixed my home haunt with the spook show. Not to get off track, but back in 2011, I did something that was a lot more closer to a spook show. I just didn't know to call it a spook show. After I understood what happened in them and the dark seance thing, I think it was 2016, I did my first home haunt spook show. And part of it came out of necessity, and part of it was because I was kind of tired with the maze thing.
Okay.
How old were you when you started doing those? What was that?
The home haunt, or
just the home haunts in general?
Oh
yeah.
boy, I was still living at mom's house when I started decorating and everything. I was probably like my early 20s, probably like 22 or something, and I started decorating. I moved out to my own little place. I was probably 25, 26 or so. Yeah, the home haunt has been going on for about 13 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 13 years. And then, 2016 is when I did the first home haunt spook show. And
so you incorporated both worlds then?
Yeah, I did. And it was a total, it was different because, again, I wasn't bringing people into a maze. I basically created this big black room where the spook show was going to be done. And I brought in people about 10 to 12 at a time. They sat down in the dark. I would come out and do a little introduction and call upon the spirits, saying that this is Halloween. And tonight, I wrote a little something special. And I read this like kind of invocation where I, said, tonight is All Hallows Eve. On Halloween, ghosts, race, vampires, and werewolves have dominion and can walk the earth. We invite them all here. I did some kind of introduction like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there'd be like this kind of like long pause, and it had to be like, well, I guess nothing is happening, and then a lightning strike, lightning would strike, and all the whole room would go dark, and music and things would start to happen, sort of like the Etienne thing I was talking about earlier, and then things kind of change tone very quickly. It'd be very spooky, and then all of a sudden there'd be a skeleton coming out and singing the Headless Horseman, the Disneyland, or Disney, film, the Headless Horseman. A skeleton would come out and start singing and dancing. And,
okay.
Yeah. And
so you started doing your own spook shows just at your house and with the incorporation of a home haunt then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like performing magic and mentalism. I had a problem with it in that I kind of saw that field of doing gigs as like I put it as I go to you. You're doing an event, I go to your event. You have a kid's birthday party, I go to your party. You're doing a corporate event, I go to your corporate event. The home haunt, or any kind of haunted attraction really, is you come to me. I'm throwing an event. I have this thing here and you're going to come to me. And so Halloween was perfect because the audiences just naturally came to you. And so that year I did the first, home haunt spook show, and it killed. It was great. The previous year, I believe it was a Saturday, and honestly, our walkthrough was dead. Hardly anyone was showing up. And then that year, it was like a leap year. It was a Monday, and we just killed it. I mean, it was nonstop people waiting to get in, and they were texting other people and telling them to come out. So I was like, I found something here, and it was I had a brand new passion and love for it, and so it just kept growing from there.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
cool. I was gonna say like because I got to check out your show last year.
Thank you.
And yeah, no,
I was supposed to make it that day. Something happened.
Yeah, you stood me up.
I stood him up. It was a mandate. Yeah.
But again, like, I knew of I didn't know they were called spook shows, but I knew that these like seance shows and things, they existed. But it's like, it's 2019. Who's doing these anymore? And I went, and you pulled in quite the crowd. It was, I think there were some people had to stand. Like there were so many people. Like
we had to bring in. It was.
You needed some extra chairs or something.
Yeah, we had to bring in some extra chairs. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was amazing to see that there's so many people that still have an interest in this kind of stuff and a curiosity to do it. And it's like you did it where you did it, and again, it seems like something that in this day and age where everybody's very cynical. And anything from the olden days, like crappy. But they showed up and like not just like like people, like couples and stuff. Like people were bringing their families, people were bringing their kids. It was pretty shocking. Like I was one of the few people that was there alone. Thanks, Rick.
Sorry about that.
That was something that I loved about it. When I again going back to like the home haunt, when I did mazes. At a lot of haunted attractions, I think when I look around, I see what's the target market? It's like teenagers, people in their 20s and their 30s. Mm-hmm. The older people are like, oh, that's for the kids. Let the kids go do it. And then a lot of times the kids are, they're too scared to go in. This, when I started doing them, I saw them a lot more like a Tim Burton film in that, it appealed to a broader range of people. Like, the little kids could come in.
Definitely a different demographic.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The little kids could come in, and there were kids who got scared during the home haunt, and even during the last show that you showed up at, Menji. I had some people coming to me say like, "Oh, my grandkid was hiding behind the chair because he was so scared of the dark," But it was something that appealed to a broader range of people. I thought people who were older were able to come and enjoy it for the theater of it. People who were younger, because it was something kind of new and novel and still spooky, and then the kids still loved it, So that's something I really liked about it.
Yeah, especially for those older people, I'm sure, because a lot of them either had probably gone to one in their youth, or maybe their parents had gone to one and told them what it was like. So like, there's something that kind of carries on through the generations that like, oh, this is like a tradition almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that you're keeping this art alive, it shows how passionate you are.
Thank you.
And it's just so cool. And I think that's how I discovered it on Instagram. I'm like, this dude is like into not only collecting the artwork, the original artwork, but he's performing as well. Mm-hmm. And you perform in various locations, and you actually have a character that you've developed. So let's speak about your character Grimsby that you've developed.
Yes. Grimsby Grimsdyke. He's his own person. I mean, it's sort of strange. Again, he was going to be a character for the maze, and he was a character in the maze. He was going to be a greeter. He came about on his own. I had ideas and such that, I wanted, this skeleton character, of course. Once everything came together, he emerged. I didn't plan anything. The name, I didn't plan. The voice, I didn't plan. The way he acts, I didn't plan. He emerges on his own. When I'm putting together the show, I sometimes have ideas about like how things are going to be staged and how they're going to work out. And then once Grimsby comes out by himself, things don't work out again. It needs to be reworked. It's like, oh, no. Grimsby has his own say about things. He's a character. My mom loves him. My mom really loves him. I don't know how I really feel about this. This is her way of kind of describing him, but she almost put him like Michael Jackson. I know.
So I reposted the video of him talking about the history of jack-o'-lanterns.
Uh-huh.
And everybody loved it. Everyone was like, there was like over 500 views of it. Well, Jesus, that's more than my stuff gets. I'm like, what the hell? But he's a performer. He definitely has a presence, and just very proper with his pronunciation. It's just I dug it. Even the outfit's cool. And then there's a little video of you like performing, and like you were like throwing the snake into the screen and so forth. But I could see him like being like the as you as well as like the storyteller, like in front of like a facade of a maze, or like in like a haunted attraction and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's been around for a long time. He's got a kind of a mysterious past. The only thing we really know too much about his past is that he was executed. He was strangled for some kind of involvement in magic and witchcraft. It's about pretty much all we know, but he's been around for a long time. Very proper. He's ultimately a good guy, but he kind of revels in things that are dark and evil, you know?
Sounds like a lot of us.
So maybe that's it. He relates to a lot of the people in the haunt industry like that.
How did you develop him? Like, what were some of your influences to develop this alter ego, this performer?
I truly do not know. I truly do not know. If anything, there's, again, going back to some of the old guys like Dr. Silkini. If you look at some of the old Dr. Silkini artwork, there's like some of them where, you know, you see like this skeleton guy who's like holding a sign, you know, where it's like he's holding a sign, he's pointing to it and it says Ghost Show, you know. So if anything, you know, that had a big influence, you know, looking at that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's it. The top hat, like I said, it was the haunted house of the Ghoul. Mm-hmm. And the Ghoul was also his own character. The Ghoul was just this cheap, like $1 mask I got at a Party City, I think. But somehow, something about it, it was just this cheap little thing, but it fit my face perfectly. And it was just, I was able to talk, and it seemed like the mouth moved with it, and it was great. And I had long hair at the time, and so that's like where the top hat came from. The top hat is actually from the character I had called the Ghoul. Yeah, so the top hat just got passed down to Grimsby, and Grimsby kind of took over. And yeah, he's been a favorite. Like I said, I don't know. My mom said something about compared him to Michael Jackson. So I tried to get more at her about that, and she said something about
maybe it's a flash, like just a flashy performer and has a stage presence. I mean,
she said something about like he throws you off at first, like his appearance throws you off. You think he's gonna be one way. Yeah,
I can see. Yeah.
He throws you off one way, but then once he starts talking and you start getting like, oh, there's a different side to him. There's yeah, that's yeah. I don't like the whole Michael Jackson reference, but that's how she put it.
But I think whereas Grimsby is the performance and the storytelling aspect of it. I guess for Michael Jackson it would be the dancing. Like you wouldn't expect those moves to come from that guy.
Huh?
Yeah, maybe that's kind of where she was leaning, because when you said that, like, oh, kind of.
Yeah. And we actually, you know, I actually took my mom out to lunch earlier today, and I brought up that we were going to do this show, and I brought up the whole Michael Jackson thing. It's funny, you got Thriller right behind you.
Yeah, that was actually a present from the girlfriend. So she never knew there was a making of Thriller.
Wow.
And,
how do you not know?
So when I was a kid at Kmart, I went into another old reference. I went into the video section, and they had this on a continuous loop, the making of the video, and Rick Baker doing the makeup. I was terrified watching them do the makeup of Michael as a werewolf. And so I think we watched the making of it like on YouTube, and then she found the VHS and bought it as a gift. So it's displayed amongst, you know, like the Dark Shadows comic and this old Ride of the Hills Horns vinyl, and Snoopy as a witch, and then the Haunted Mansion coffee mug, which when you heats up, the Hatbox Ghost appears on the opposite side. So yeah.
A whole bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, a little side tangent.
It's really
I was actually curious, like, how your family felt about you getting it. Because I know some families, you know, they're a bit more staunch in certain areas, like really supportive.
Oh, they loved it. Mom, brother, sister, they all love it. My dad doesn't get it. He wanted to stick with a maze. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, he very much. Yeah, he was a big part of like, I guess like, you know, the home haunt thing started out when I was still living at Mom's place. And he came by one year when I was still decorating. You know, I was still living at Mom's, and I was decorating and stuff. And he loved it. And he approached me next year about going down to his place to put up a maze. You know, so he was more of like a handyman construction guy. So he knew how to put up walls. He knew about all that stuff. I was more about decorating and, you know, how to create a scare and stuff. And he knew how to construct things. So we began work together like that. And so when I started, like, you know what, I don't even want to, you know, like going through the hassle and the headache and the hard work of building a maze, I'm going to do a show, and it's a lot less work. We could tear it down easier and stuff. So I think he was kind of a little more put off by that. So he gets it, but he doesn't get it.
Right.
It's funny because in the haunt industry, like with the haunt attractions, you have the creative writers, the ones that come up with the vision, and you have the builders, the ones that will frame out, cut the 8x4 walls and so forth. And then you have guys that do both. So you having the personality and then like the influence and that knowledge of the spook shows, obviously it's gonna become natural for you to become a performer. So this is why I think like with you, you're like, yeah, I could build the haunts, but I'd rather be the storyteller.
Yes.
And so it just, and as campy as one-dimensional I am as a scare actor, I'm average.
Come on. Come on.
I love storytelling to people. Like I said, I see someone who's captivated, and I zone in on them, and like, or they're like, I catch their name. I'm all, his name's Robert. How you doing, Robert? They're like, how'd you know my name? Or I see them, they're cringing, or they're just like, they're staring me in the eye, and I'm like the stupidest thing. I'm like, where do you think you're going? And they're like, and I tell them a story, and they're just, whatever. But the fact that you're definitely a storyteller, and you have that influence just from the movies, from the artwork. Like you said, you developed Grimsby by possibly looking at some artwork.
Yeah. And then, it's a bit of method acting too. I think it's a bit of method acting. Yeah, it just emerges. It comes out when the costume is on. Grimsby comes out. He's his own character in a lot of ways.
I get it because it's there's Rick, there's corporate Rick, and we're, hey, good morning, how we doing? Happy Monday. And like, whatever. There's corporate Rick in my day job. Hey, I work for a big medical corporate manufacturer, and then there's the monster. Once I put on that armor, then I totally become someone completely different. And it's like the frustration of life comes out of the monster, and I'm like, I get to yell and scream at people and terrorize, and I'm just like, it's therapy. But I think it's a form of method acting as well.
Yes. That's really cool. I like how you brought that whole thing up. You're an opportunist as well. I call that opportunism, where you overhear someone's name. Oh, his name is Robert. Oh, and you're going to bring that up later. That's something that plays into magic and mentalism too, being an opportunist, grabbing onto that.
I had someone say, I have this special effect context. They're like, I don't like the way his eyes looked. So I purposely opened up my eyes and looked, and I'm like, what did you say? And I look at them, they're like, oh, or like they don't like the teeth, the fake teeth, or they don't like something. So I'm like, you pick up on the key notes. So it's like, I guess as a method actor, or performer, I guess it's able to act on cue, ad lib. So I can see why you're more leaning towards the performance side than actual like the development and build side of it. So that's pretty cool, man. So you were on a panel, I remember. And it's funny because you reminded me of it. You were on a panel for Midsummer Scream back in 2018.
Yes, sir.
And I sat in that audience, and I had a lot of kind of cocktails on me. So, and who were you up there with?
I was with my friend David Lucarelli and David Beach. Also with David Markham. I'm sorry. Oh my God. We haven't talked in a while. Jeff Markham. And he's making a documentary about spook shows. But David Lucarelli, he is the producer and writer for the Dr. Zomba spook show out in Hollywood. It's he calls it a ghost show. His is we're the same thing, but we're different flavors. His is a little bit more of like a comedy play. It's more of
more slapstick.
Yeah, it's using spook shows as kind of like the kickoff point for a story that's happening. So it's a little bit more of a play. His is a little bit more of a play. A lot of spook show elements to it. He's a great guy though. During the last Midsummer Scream, he had me come out as part of the cast as well. I joined the cast as Dracula. So.
I remember that.
I'm sad I missed all these.
Benji.
Man, 2018 was actually my first Midsummer Scream ever.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
No, that was 2019.
No.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
You're right, it was. You're right, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You guys are brand new. You guys are brand new friends. You guys hit it off really quick.
The first time I met him, this guy was dressed up as a devil, talking like, ah.
I was this giant rockabilly devil with horns and a Letterman jacket.
That's the picture I showed.
And then later on, I get this voice message like, "Hey man, you did real good. This is Rick." I'm like, "Who's this stranger messaging?"
I'm like, hey dude, thanks for because he was the first person I really interacted with. I saw this dude with a cool hat and like he had the racing stripe and a camera, and I'm like, okay, let me get into character because we got to the showroom floor and I was overwhelmed. And I never done full facial feature prosthetics, and I was like, okay, I'm like this dancing clown. So I ran into some people I saw. I'm like, hey, how's it going? I just started doing Beetlejuice one-liners. I'm like, hey, how's it going? I see you looking at me. It's just like, and I started developing this alter ego, and his name was Louis C. Fur. And so he just became, he was like the handsome devil, kind of like a chauvinistic, misogynistic, like just handsome devil, like womanizer, at the same time like campy and kind of mess with men as well. And so I see him come out with a camera, and I see him like talking, and he's filming me. I was like, I gotta fuck with this. and so we're shooting this shit, and then he tells me his YouTube handle, his Instagram handle, and then I'm like, hey man, what's up? And we started messaging, and I guess he was disappointed when he met me. And he expected me to be a devil all the time. That's what I said.
No. It was like I became friends with a stranger all of a sudden one day. Like the person I met was not the person I became friends with.
And he's just not the guy I met 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, like who is this guy messaging me?
When I first met you were somebody else.
You're a totally different person.
But it's funny. He's been terrorized by most of my characters. And, and then I just tell him, like, have you noticed like every character sounds the same, the damn same campy voice? It's like,
Hey, whatever works.
So going back to Midsummer Scream, I was actually in the crowd of that panel. And I remember I was like, I was watching these guys up on the stage, talking about spook shows, and you're like, oh, that was me. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, I think I messaged you through Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. It's a small world, isn't it? The haunt world is very small.
It's just such a small community, but yeah, I remember you guys were up there talking about all the spook shows. I'm like, dude, they're talking about spook shows. And my buddy at times like, where's spooks? I'm like, get with it. And then I told him kind of a brief history. This is what they used to do. They used to perform like theatrical performances, and they integrated into movies and did like midnight screenings. And you guys were talking about it, and everybody was up there. And I think I shot him some YouTube videos and all of that. So you actually performed as
Grimsby
at Midsummer Scream.
Yes, I did. Yeah, Grimsby came out, they wanted a small kind of taste and sample of it. So yeah, I came out as Grimsby talking about the Fox sisters and what was happening with them, and performed a little bit of what do I want to call it? I don't want to give away the name of it, so I'm going to leave it alone at that. But yeah, Grimsby came out a little bit. That was a great experience, and that was actually where I first met David Lucarelli, or that's where we started, kind of hitting it off. 'Cause he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a great sound guy, really driven, great writer. And so hopefully we could work together again really soon, when things start, opening up and getting lifted.
Eventually, I definitely, all three of us talked about doing a potential project.
Let's call it a project.
A project. Hello. You wanker. Which we incorporate all three of us and so forth. Where else have you performed?
The Halloween Club is a big help to me. I love the Halloween Club. They're out in La Mirada. It's a year-round Halloween store. A lot of costumes, great staff. They've been an amazing help to me. The event producer, Dora, she's wonderful. She's allowed me a lot of opportunities to meet people, to showcase what I do, and yeah, that was a big help. There was the Midsummer Scream performances, there's all my home haunts, there was as a magician, there's been other places I performed at, casinos like Pachanga.
Oh wow.
That was a small one-time engagement. It was cool. Wish it would have happened more. Bunch of little clubs and stuff in Hollywood.
I could picture you as a magician. What do you wear as the magician?
You know what? It was very Imagine Grimsby, but without the mask.
So you have the top hat?
No top hat. No top hat.
Come on.
What a jip! Come on.
No top hat.
What a jip! I wanted to see the top hat. Come on.
I thought there was gonna be a.
Well, there is. Bobby, I just pushed the wrong button. Sorry.
I love that you got the board memorized now.
Perfect.
So, you've talked about potential future projects.
Potential future projects, actually. There's something else that's in the works right now. That's another big showcase of mine. There was a small independent TV show that I've appeared on a lot. A lot of my video that you're going to see on social media and on my website actually comes from a little TV show called Horror Kung Fu Theater. Unfortunately, the host has passed away. Night Shadow, he was a great guy. I loved him. He was a great guy, ex-wrestler, fun personality. He used to bring a lot of weird and kooky characters on the show, and that was another great experience for me. So,
are these available still, like on YouTube?
You can see them on YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, for the listeners at home, I'm going to put links in the description of the podcast to your Instagram, your website, and also to the Kung Fu. What was it called?
Horror Kung Fu Theater.
Okay.
Awesome name,
right?
That wasn't the guy at the show, was it? The Sword Swallower guy?
He appears on the show as well. Yeah, that was Dave the Miracle Man Markham. Yeah,
yes.
So all that I'll put in the link. I'll put in the description of the podcast where they can find all that.
Wonderful. Yeah, so, but there's a talk of a future project, sort of in honor of him, but something brand new. We're still in the early stages, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely interested in all this, and I kind of want to see you perform some magic. Like I'm intrigued now.
Wonderful. Yeah, so we're going to do this now. I would like to invite everybody at home. If you have those tarot cards, if you have those playing cards, get them out now. And in fact, I brought a small deck of cards here. If you gentlemen would like to participate as well.
Sure.
Wonderful. And again, I want to say if any of you are listening to this during daytime, I invite you to come back and listen to this at nighttime. Make it dim in the room, maybe put on some spooky music, burn some incense. We're going to take part in the spell of Baphomet. It's a fun little thing you can take part in at home. So here, I'm just going to give you a few cards. We don't need too many for each of you. Okay. Like I said, if you have 7 or 8 cards at home, that's perfect. If you have less, 4 or 5 cards would be great. So I'm just going to give each of you a small packet of cards, and I'm going to take a few for myself.
Again, guys, if you don't have cards on you, you can definitely pause, take note of the timestamp. Thank you, sir. That's why I have you on here, and you definitely listen to this later on. But if you do have cards, we're going to continue.
Wonderful. And each one of you, just make sure. I don't want. I want this to be very fair. You know, I have 6 cards. You have how many?
I have a total of 6.
You have 6.
I have 7.
You have 7. So we got different numbers.
You son of a bitch.
Hey.
Could have been 666.
I could hear it. Like I just tossed from there.
Actually, keep it because I want to make sure. You know, okay. I don't want people at home to think like, oh, maybe it's because I had this number. He told me to have 5 cards. So because that's kind of interesting. Another name for a deck of cards is actually the Devil's Prayer Book.
Interesting.
You know, if you think about the way people hold the prayer book in church and the way gamblers hold the cards, it's very similar.
Interesting. Never thought about that.
Yeah. Oh, so this is called the Spell of Baphomet. And if any of you aren't familiar with the image of Baphomet, I invite you to go ahead and Google it. You can find an image of it. He's a very dark character, and I'm sure people who are listening to this probably already know what Baphomet looks like.
Oh, yeah.
He's a goat-headed figure who's been associated with darkness and evil. And so if you're brave enough, I invite you to take part in this. Take out your small packet of cards and just mix them up so that even if you know what cards you have, you do not know what order they are in. I'm doing that with mine, Rick is doing that with his, and Menji is doing that with his. Yes, and then whenever you want, just hold the cards face down in your left hand. This is where you have decided to stop, and this is where fate has brought you. Take your other hand, lift up the small pack of cards, and look at the bottom card, and remember it. This is your lucky card. This is the card of good fortune. This is where your fate has brought you. Remember it, it will be important later, and put it back down in your left hand. We are now going to perform the spell of Baphomet by spelling Baphomet. So what I'd like you to do is take the top card, move it to the bottom of the packet. That represents B. We're going to continue this. The next card from the top, take it and move it to the bottom. That is A. And again, P, H, O, M, E, and finally, T. There was one last part of the spell of Baphomet. If you notice that his right hand is extended upwards towards the skies, and his left hand is extended downwards towards the earth. This is a magic symbol. It is a symbol of duality. The light, the dark, the good, the evil, the up, the down. Here, we are interested only in the dark. So what I'd like you to do now is take whatever the top card is and deal it to the table, discarding it. The card that is after it, the one that is on top, represents below. Move it to the bottom of the deck. We're going to repeat this until we have only one card left in our hand. So again, the top card represents above, deal it to the table. The next card is below, move it to the bottom. And again, above is dealt to the table. Below is moved to the bottom. Above to the table. Below to the bottom. And the above is dealt to the table. I now have only one card.
I have 1 card.
I have 2.
And
I can...
now you have dealt the last card. If you are like us and you've been following along, you should have only 1 card remaining in your hand. If the spell of Baphomet has worked, if Baphomet has given you his blessing, the card remaining in your hand should be your lucky card. If you are brave enough, look and see what you are holding.
Oh, man.
That is weird.
Baphomet has given his blessing.
Yes.
That's my card.
Yep. You got a good one, too.
That is weird.
Ace of Hearts.
You win.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of my apartment. I'm just kidding. That was eerie. That was.
Wow.
I have no explanation for that.
And if there's anyone at home listening, again, let us know what happened. And if you were using tarot cards, message us. Let us know which tarot card it was and what the fate holds for you.
Definitely message myself on Instagram, RickCreeper11, or you can message the mind of Robert as well on Instagram, and let us know the results of your cards. That was eerie. That was creepy as hell.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's funny.
Thank
So
you,
you
sir.
mentioned earlier, you mentioned Blackstone. I'm assuming you meant Harry Blackstone. And he would actually come on a show I used to watch when I was a kid called Square One. And it was kind of the same thing like you were saying, where he would do card tricks and he wanted you, even though you're watching on TV, to play along. And it was kind of a mentalism thing where
Yes.
you'd end up with the card that you're supposed to end up with. Yeah.
Yes. And also, as this was going on, this is something kind of spooky. I've actually heard of people at home who were watching something, who were listening to what I was doing, and they noticed weird sounds happening in the house, or a light began to flicker in the room. If any of that has happened, also let us know.
That is
Definitely want to hear about that.
definitely creepy as hell. Jesus.
And again, remember, I had more cards than the rest of you, and it still happened.
That was definitely interesting. So, I normally end every episode with a fantasy question. And this will apply to you as well, co-host NG Speaks.
Oh, God.
So, Robert,
Yes, sir.
a time portal opens up in my apartment here in the historical district in downtown Santa Ana. And you're approached by your choice of any spook show or spooks theater performer. And you have the option to be a part of or to experience. Who would it be, in what area, and why?
Ooh. It would be one of 2 performers. I'm going to cheat on this. It would be one of 2. It would either, of course, be Elwyn Charles Peck, Ali Din, seeing the first ever spook show that he performed, or it would have to be Bill Neff, the guy who was, who brought Bela Lugosi out. And probably I'd go for one of those. I'd go for probably the first time that, Bela Lugosi appeared on stage with him.
Would you want to just be a person in the audience? Would you want to be, let's say, like a stagehand or performer? What would you want to do?
I would love to sit in the theater, watch, and just enjoy the artwork of what they did. And then afterwards, if I could, sit down and have a beer with them or talk with them.
Interesting. So, and I'm going to give you a second question.
Okay.
Of the spook shows that involved and incorporated Universal monsters, which one would you want to partake in or be a viewer of?
Dr. Silkini. Dr. Silkini, definitely. Ripping off the Frankenstein monster and such. Of course, again, going back to what I was saying before, Bill Neff used Dracula. He had Dracula on stage. But yeah, Dr. Silkini too. Because also, there's so many pictures of Bill Neff. I know totally what Bill Neff looks like. There's very few pictures of Dr. Silkini, Jack Baker, partially because his wife actually destroyed a lot of the photos after he died.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's another one of those kind of like weird mysteries of why she did that. There's very few photos of him. There's a few promotion photos, so it'd be really nice to go back and chat with him and talk with him and see what he was like. Again, just such a funny, weird character, and then have a good image in my head of what he looked like.
You definitely want to sit with the man and maybe pick his brain about the art.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Bill Neff more. Bill Neff was more the brain. Jack Baker was more of he's the guy to turn to about how to make money at that time.
Got it. More of the con artist.
Con artist. Carney. Yeah.
Now for my co-host, Emmanuel. Jesus.
Whoa.
Emmanuel.
Who's that?
He's the guy in the next room. Emmanuel.
He's opening the decrepit spa next door.
Jesus. Emmanuel Manjavar, aka Menji Speaks, voiceover artist and YouTuber. If you could go back to it could be the silent era, it could be the talkies, it could be the golden era of Universal Studio Monsters, which movie would it be? And if you had a theater of choice, where would it be?
To go watch?
Yes.
Ooh, God.
Let's say the debut of Dracula here in the States, like at, I don't know, the Palace, like in LA or something, or up north in Frisco.
Man, yeah. It would probably have to be... I would want to go do a theater in San Francisco, just because that's where I'm from. People who most likely don't know. Because I would love to see the way San Francisco looked back then compared to, I literally was just there last weekend and I don't ever want to go back. Unfortunately, my poor town has fallen into disrepair, I'll say. But back in the day, like the Golden City on the Bay, so I would love to definitely go to any of those towns. And I had actually gone to an old theater that was what's the word I'm looking for? They turned it into a movie theater at the time. I saw Gremlins 2 at this old theater.
Drawing a blank, and there's a really well-known theater up there. It's like literally, I think, 1 or 2 screens. It's up in Frisco.
There aren't many left.
Cow Palace?
The Cow Palace is not a movie theater, but I have been there. Yeah.
Okay, well then I'm drawing a blank.
What's it called?
Yeah, the Cow Palace. It's a small arena. It's famous for like its rodeos, which is why it's called the Cow Palace. But they also do like wrestling shows there and stuff like that as well. But yeah, there was like the oldest theater that's still standing is the Warfield that was there, but that's mostly like a music venue now. But I'm sure they played movies back in the day. I've been there countless times, but there's some other ones that I went to. But yeah, just to go see one of those. And gosh, I would probably go with Frankenstein. For as much as I love Dracula, and it's probably still my favorite, the fact that Frankenstein has a score is usually like a huge thing for me, because Dracula is a very quiet movie.
It's very quiet.
Yeah, because they hadn't really figured out the idea that, we should probably put music on the back of this. Whereas Frankenstein does have some background. It doesn't have as much as like later films like The Mummy and stuff. So I would probably go with Frankenstein just because you get kind of more of the full performance of the cinema. And yeah, any of those old movie theaters that are gone now. There was one I went to, I remember, and that's where I saw Gremlins 2 there. And they all either get torn down or turned into churches now.
There's a great theater in the Circle in Orange.
Oh, really?
But it's a church.
Yes.
For me, if I could go back to the debut or just like the midnight screening of Lon Chaney's The Wolfman, just anything with lycanthropes just resonates with me, and just the scene of the Moors in that movie, it's so cool, and the fact that some of that soundstage is still there as well. So well, before we end the episode, Robert, would you like to plug anything?
If you are interested in following me, messaging me, tell me about any spooky stories or other strange experiences you have, please check out my Instagram. Rick has been saying it's the Mind of Robert. You can find it on Instagram. I have a website. It is www.spookshow.org. But I'm going to tell you this, I'm planning on updating the website and the address, so it'd probably be better to find me on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and search for The Haunted House of the Ghoul. You'll find my page, and you could follow and get updates there and see other videos.
My co-host, Menji Speaks.
Oh, yeah, you can pretty much find me anywhere on the internet at Animenji, Animenji. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube are obviously the two biggest things, and it's all, .com/Animenji, and of course Animenji.com if you would like to utilize my voice for any future projects.
Man for Hire. He also has a podcast called The Gaming Tangent,
Podcast,
which I had the honor of being on and geeking out on some games.
Yes, go back and listen, please. We have another episode coming out.
Oh my!
Real soon.
I'm not gonna lie, this has been a very fun episode. I knew the three of us would gel very well. I'm looking forward to this potential project that we're gonna do. Before we leave, I need the both of you do some type of voices, especially you. Robert
monkey.
Robert has some great voices, and so does Menji too. So just whatever throughout whatever.
Well, my dear men, it's been absolutely fabulous being here. I enjoyed the whole experience. It's been absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed to come back.
It's very enlightening. I do have to say, serious
lack of brandy here in this palatial study that you have here. All these books, this giant fireplace, but no brandy, man. No cigars.
Here, here, sir.
How are we supposed to discuss the politic of the day otherwise?
I'm gonna do my one voice. Keep that dog from dribbling on my seats.
On my seats. Tyrone, this is a stolen car, mate.
I don't know the rest of the
When I'm driving, it's my car.
Dude, can you please do Boris the Blade? Just please.
What's the blade? Oh God, what's the line? Heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. If it doesn't work, you can always hit him with it.
You motherfuckers.
If I ever see you again, you motherfuckers.
We did this last time. It's again. No, my girlfriend's like, nobody's gonna know that movie. It's Guy Ritchie's Snatch from 2000 with Jason Statham. You do the voice,
Jason Statham.
Yeah.
I come from Antwerp. I drive cars now, don't you know?
It even does the
I'm a
face.
fucking action star, right? I don't do these crazy fucking Guy Ritchie movies anymore, right? I don't know what you're talking about. I just punch people in the fucking face.
I'm done. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thanks for having me.
Not only for coming on, but being a great friend. And I feel like this is going to be this power trio for this potential project we're going to do.
Avengers assembled.
I was happy to talk to Robert again. A lot of people, again, I should have maybe plugged this on my YouTube channel. If you go back, I did interview Robert.
You
for
did.
one of my
It was
videos.
Spook Show Bazaar.
Yeah, the Spook Show Bazaar. It
was a lot of fun.
Go back and watch that as well.
But before we leave,
Oh, another before we leave?
in the heart of Baja California, Mexico, lies a hidden gem. I have bills to pay. A desert oasis known as Manjivar Natural Springs Resort. Manjivar. Come to Manjivar. Experience fine dining, 5-star massages, 5-star natural springs and saunas. Book your oasis today. What are you waiting for? Manjivar. The hidden gem that lies in Baja California, Mexico, known as Manjivar.
Old married couples just running across the beach.
Get away.
Now with 35% less cartels.
Where I got the Baja California, Mexico. My dad used to listen to KFI AM radio.
Okay.
And apparently they broadcasted from Baja California, Mexico. And there was like, they used to always have that sound drop in it. And my dad would listen to like Rush Limbaugh and some other stuff. And I always heard that AM buzz, AM radio.
Oh, that buzz in the
But
background,
apparently
yeah.
the transmission came from Baja California. So,
Wow.
so I just threw that in there just as a joke. So anyways, thank you guys for coming on. It's been a fun episode.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everyone supporting the podcast, everyone listening at home. I think we're done. Episode 12.
Farewell.
Thank you to Zombie Donuts for supporting the podcast. You guys go check them out, support small businesses. And that's a wrap. So happy holidays and Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care.
You've once again barely escaped the clutches of the Creepcast with Rick Creeper. Next time, you may not be so lucky. To find out more about the Creepcast and Rick Creeper, follow Rick on Instagram at RickCreeper11. Until next time, be sure to keep that lantern light burning. You never know